Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hey ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max to go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. If you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all of those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise. Hey, mothers and daughters, we're back again today with a wonderful woman that I am going to be interviewing. And this is for our series, Women and Success. And as I've explained to you, success could be anything. It could be money. It could be loving what you do. It could be, mastering the craft that you're involved in. But today, I have a wonderful person that I'm going to be interviewing. And guess what? She and I have something in common. We have an F word that we love. Okay, don't get excited. We'll talk about the F word in a minute. Don't get excited. Miss Kristen, she will tell us all about it. Welcome to the show today, Miss Kristen. How are you?
I am well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm excited about having you because this topic that we're going to talk about today with this F word is kind of one of those things that when I meet women in business, they don't really like to talk about it. They don't really want to discuss it. They don't really want to break it down to the specifics where we could actually have a conversation about it to be able to stay in business. It's great to start a business, but you got to talk about this F word in order to stay in business. Easy to start one, not so easy to stay in one. So tell me the name of your business.
I am E&M Bookkeeping Solutions.
Okay. And I like that word solutions because it sounds like you're solving some problems.
That is my goal in life, is to help solve your problems with your money.
That's perfect. I used to listen to Dr. Mike Murdoch, and he would always say, if you can solve a problem, you'll never be broke. And I'm telling you, he was right on with that one. How did you come up with the name for that particular business?
Oh, so I am not creative. And I asked my grandfather, I was starting the business. And at the time I was running a home daycare to be able to stay home with my girls.
Yep.
I asked my grandfather, do you have any ideas on what to name my business? He goes, you're a woman. Don't use your last name. It'll probably change.
Oh,
And I was like,
wow.
How sexist. I thought it was terribly sexist.
Sexist, but true.
Well, I learned it to be true. So here I was, really not creative. And I see my mother had quilted my girls in their nursery these window coverings with my first daughter's initials, which they both have the same initials, E for their first name and M for their last name.
Okay.
Oh, E&M. And in the rearview mirror, it says me. That
Yes.
is
Yes.
how. And I
You
call
said
my
you're not
oldest.
creative, but that was pretty creative now.
It was staring me in the face,
Yeah. Yeah.
My oldest is called E and my youngest is called M. That's how we refer to them and I have for years. So that's how it got going.
And since you're the one that's the bookkeeper, that's the me part. I like it. I like it. How long have you been in that particular type of business? And is it a full-time business for you?
It is a full-time business.
Love it.
It was a part-time side hustle that gave me a little bit of extra spending.
Okay.
My first husband was a firefighter, and so his schedule was really not consistent.
Right.
So I needed to do something where I could still be a full-time mom, get my kids to and from school, but we needed my help to make ends meet.
Right.
And I'm very grateful I created that business because it served me well.
I absolutely agree with you because back in the 90s, before I left my corporate job, and I woke up one day and said, I'm supposed to be doing something else. All I knew is I wanted to be there when they went to school. I wanted to be there when they got home. So I created a daycare in my home as well, did it for 5 years. And then it led me to, being a business development consultant. But that was my first business that I started on my own, just simply because I wanted to be there with my kids. So I absolutely am gelling with you on that particular. Now, I would ask you, where are you located, first of all?
I am in Southern New Hampshire.
Southern New Hampshire. Okay, I always like to write those type of things down because I've had so many different type of people on here, and I've had folks from Sweden and everywhere from Switzerland, and I'm just like, I'm so excited that through these different modalities we get to use, we can meet people from all over the world, and especially with women, we can learn about what other women are doing in other places and connect with them no matter where we are on this wonderful earth. So in your business, because you work in the bookkeeping field, you have this favorite F word, and it's the only F word that I agree with you on as far as having, that because most time people hear the F word, they go, but no, this is one you can actually smile about. So let's talk about the F word.
So my F word is finances.
That's right.
And I teach all the time. I teach about getting comfy with that F word.
Yeah.
And where that came from was my grandfather owned a trucking company when I was growing up, and my
Mhm.
mom was the bookkeeper. So
Oh,
I learned how to bookkeep on paper with the old ledgers on paper.
yep.
And of course, the guys in the trucking industry have very colorful language.
Yes.
So sure enough, in my young little life, I heard that F bomb quite often. My grandfather said, notice that they are totally comfortable saying that word, but they don't come and talk to me about their pay.
Right. Right. So let's change that F bomb to a
Yeah.
different F bomb, which is your finances. Correct.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you see when you talk to business owners? What are some of their fears when it comes to finances? Other than simply just talking about them, what are some of their fears?
Well, yeah, talking about them.
Yeah,
But with business owners, the biggest fear is getting audited.
yeah,
They don't know the rules on how they can actually maximize their deductions
yeah.
that are legal and what they're doing that would get them audited. So that is one of the biggest fears is the IRS. So having a daughter who's an auditor,
Okay.
I can put a lot of those fears to rest because I know what auditors are looking for. I've worked with auditors. I've gone through audits with clients. I
Mhm.
get hired to help clients through audits and get them ready. So I know exactly what auditors are looking for and what's legal and what's not. I geek out on the tax code. I'm one of those weird people that I like the tax code because it was written for business owners.
That means you love what
So
you
we
do.
might as well understand it.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the number one big fear. The second big fear, and it's more of an anxiety, is where did their money go? They
Yeah.
really don't know where their money went. And
So
so
true.
many are just focused on sales over profit or cash flow.
It's so true.
And I say, okay, instead of just getting more sales, because a lot of times more sales cost more money.
Yeah.
How can we increase your profit so that you can keep more of your money?
Right.
That's the real gold. I'd rather only make because I was working, I had a pizza shop that came to me. They actually had their frozen pizza in stores and stuff. And they said, we just hit the $4 million sales mark, but we don't have any money. And I said, I was brought on to figure out why. I said, well, do you realize that for every pizza you sell, you're losing 75 cents? You're not pricing it. You have great sales. You have no profit. You're in the hole.
Right.
they didn't know how to price their product to actually make money. So
To
they were
make a
sinking.
profit. Oh gosh.
With every sale, they were
Because I
sinking
think the
deeper and
big
deeper.
thing is, as a business owner, you're so like, we're gonna be in the stores. People are gonna see it in the stores. They're gonna buy it, they're gonna buy it. And then it's like, oh, we actually have to make a profit. So it's a little scary though to go from we thought we could sell it for $7, but we're gonna actually have to sell it for 12 because you think then at 12, no one's gonna buy it. But that's not a
Mhm.
truth because if they love it, they're gonna buy it. But I agree with you because I remember when my son first started working and he got his own apartment. And he said, okay, mom, I need you to help me with my budget. I said, okay, give me 3 months of your bank statements and I can tell you where your money's the problem is. Cause he's like, I don't see where I'm making any money. I don't have any left over. And I'm just like, let me see 3 months of your banking. Looked at the child. He's not a child. He's 20 something, but looked at his banking. And I said, well, you're spending $30 a day at the corner store. What are you possibly buying? And it's not gas. He said, oh, snacks and they have sandwiches. And you need to go to the grocery store. The next thing he was spending money on was at his job at the airport. He was buying money at the vending machine. So $30 at the corner store every day, $25 at the vending machine every day, times 5 days a week, sometimes six, times a month. Honey, that's where your money's going. He nipped that in the bud real quick because it was like, this is where your money is going. You don't realize that buying that $2.75 bag of chips and that $3 drink and a couple of honey buns and all that, you don't realize that's impacting your budget by almost $400 a week. So I
Yeah.
agree with you on the scenario about the pizza place because they probably were more excited about we're gonna get it in the stores because
So
you want to see yourself in lights in the store in the freezer section.
I just wrote a blog about it takes only less than $28 a day will blow, flush down the toilet $10,000 in a year. That's all it takes. And that is not hard to do. When you look at that coffee run, when in the morning on the way to work, you get a coffee and a donut or whatever,
Oh my,
there's a good $10,
yeah. I met
right?
a
Then you're
lady
looking at what about those little subscriptions that you thought you were going to use, but let's be real, you
and you
don't.
haven't. I met
And
a
all those
lady at
little
a
things,
network.
it adds up.
Yeah, I met a lady at a networking event and she told me that she did 3 Starbucks coffee runs a day because her apartments are right here and Starbucks is right there and it's just easier for her to do it. I said, actually, it'd be easier to make the coffee at home. She goes, oh, no, 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 not when Starbucks is right there. And I went, I didn't
Mhm.
understand. I've never, I don't drink coffee, first of all, so I've never
I
purchased
don't
any
either.
Starbucks. So I don't know what the cost of their coffee is, but I would imagine somewhere in the $2, $3, $4 range. I don't know because I don't know what
Mhm.
size she gets and all of that. But I'm just thinking if you're spending $10 a day times 7 days a week, I mean, times 4 weeks out of a month, I don't understand the science and the math in somebody's head to be able to do that. So it's those little bitty things that you got to look at that's eating up the cost. I remember when I was in my 20s and raising 4 kids, I'd have like a little tablet and every time I'd spend any little penny, I'd write it down because I want to know what am I spending every day? If I'm at the corner store, what am I spending? If we're out at the movies, okay, a movie is not just a movie when you have kids because they want snacks, right?
No,
Okay, is
snacks.
it cheaper for me to get the snacks and the nachos at the location, or is it cheaper for us to go to the store and get go to the Dollar Tree and, get a couple of Skittles or whatever snack it was? So it's like you have to really look at all the little pennies because, man, those big pennies, like you said, easy $10,000 a year that you could have
Easy.
taken and you could have saved that 10,000 and purchased something bigger that you really
You could
need.
have paid off debt. You could have put it towards retirement or your child's college fund. You could have,
Absolutely.
put money towards that new car. There's all sorts of things that we
There's
can
all
do.
sorts of things
And
when you
it's less than 20, it's actually $27.40, I believe. It was less than $28.
and you
That's
know how
all
many
it costs.
people are eating out every day spending $25?
Goes fast,
That's
but we work so hard and we're just gonna let it. And I always say time and money should be spent on paper first, or you're gonna end up wondering where the heck it went.
That's absolutely true. Let's talk about your book. I know that you did a collaboration book with
I
someone, but let's talk
did.
about the book and when did you write, get the book going and you're going to send me the link for it. So mothers and daughters, just keep in mind in the description, you're going to have the link to where you could go and purchase the book as well. So let's talk about the book.
So I was approached and I when I was approached to collaborate on it, because I co-authored it and I was approached to collaborate, I thought she made a mistake. And I was like, who, why, what am I? And she had heard about my story of overcoming financial destitution. We lost my husband to cancer
Mhm.
12 years ago, and he had always done all the money. I had given up my power over money,
Yep, yep.
and he didn't take it. I put it on his shoulders, And I had my head in the sand, and he had a very, very short battle with cancer, less than 10 months.
Mm.
And all of a sudden I had to handle it. And I didn't realize my car was going to get repossessed. The mortgage was being foreclosed on. And how, with these two little kids, was I going to survive? And we didn't just survive, we thrive now. And I know he
Amazing.
would be very proud of us.
Oh,
So,
yeah, he would.
she wanted that story of how we overcame and didn't succumb to being victims of the terrible system we were in. And so it's called Obstacles Equal Opportunities.
Okay.
And sure, it really was that obstacle that created such an opportunity for my children and I to find our strength, to come together, to
Right.
overcome, to
Right.
be stronger, be better, and really learn, come together as a team. And we chose to give up things like Christmas presents and birthday presents and cable and eating
Right.
out
That's
and
right.
all those things because we chose to keep our home.
Amen.
And
Amen. I
so we
did it.
gamified it. We
Yep.
absolutely gamified our spending and our savings. And they were young. They were only 8 and 11 at the time. And they were the reason I got up every day because I
Hmm.
really just wanted to crawl under a rock. But they are the reason I got up every day and pushed forward. And I had to set an example. I had to be their mom and show them how to be strong women. And so she asked me to write about that, and it gave me a passion and a purpose to help other women, especially women in business, because I know there's no shame or blame with me because I had my head in the sand. I made stupid mistakes. I didn't file my taxes for 5 years
Yeah.
because I was afraid I was going to owe and I didn't have the money to pay it.
Right. I
So
understand.
I get it. I've been there. And this funny, not funny, haha, sad funny thing is that if I had filed my taxes, I actually would have gotten money back because I was a single mom.
But it was just the fear. It was
It
the
was
fear.
the fear. And I lost out because you can only go back 3 years. So I lost out on 2 years of getting money back. I lost that money
Yeah.
because I refused to face my fear. So now I help people face
Right.
their fear around money, hold their hand, explain it to them, walk beside them so that they can actually get on that road to financial freedom.
Right. What are some tips that you would give to small business owners that are burying their head in the sand trying to figure out the finances when they can really just literally hire someone who that's their expertise and that's what they do 24 hours a day. That's what they eat, sleep, breathe, whatever. What are some tips that you would give to them? Because sometimes people don't even see it until somebody raises the question of, do you have help? And they don't realize that there are people like yourself. You work from home, right?
I do. This is my she shed.
And here's the deal. A lot of people in business will figure, well, I can't afford those big companies. No, there are small business owners that can help you with those finances. So what are some tips that you would give to a small business owner, especially the new ones that they're just getting started and they got a clean slate to work with and can actually nip everything in the bud before it even starts.
Start tracking. First of all, always track.
Yes.
The biggest thing that we have control of is our expenses.
Yeah.
So start tracking, know where your money's coming from, know where it's going. That's all bookkeeping is. That's
Yeah.
all accounting is. Where did money come from? Where did it go to?
Income.
Find somebody like me. There's a lot of other women out there like me, or I say women because most of us bookkeepers are women. I don't just get hired to be a bookkeeper. Oftentimes, I'm hired to train myself out of being your bookkeeper. I will
Right.
train you to do it yourself because I know cash flow doesn't always support hiring a bookkeeper.
Right.
So I have a program where I call it a DIY support plan, where I actually train you to do what I do. And then you meet with me on a monthly basis to hold you accountable for that. And I answer your questions. So now it's no longer that, bigger monthly ticket for me to do it all.
Right.
And it's getting you to do it while I'm there to back you up, support you, get your questions answered, help you understand what's going on in like, okay, do we need to increase prices? Do we need to negotiate with your vendors? Like,
Right.
where is this money going? I
Right.
just had someone the other day, she was meeting with SCORE, which I don't know if you have SCORE out there.
You do with the SBA, yes.
Yep, with the SBA. And they were kind of holding her feet to the fire about her finances. Well, she went to them for help, not to have them scold her that she didn't know. So I said, when are you meeting? I'll come.
Yeah.
I was there to give them the answers they were looking for. And one of the questions they were like, well, why isn't your owners drawing your profit and loss? And I said, Well, that's a balance sheet account. That's not on your profit and loss. She is a single member LLC. She does not get to be on payroll. So of course it's not on her profit and loss. And they looked at me like, who are you? You know,
Yeah.
these old,
Yeah.
sorry, these old fuddy-duddy men.
Yes. Hey, the
Antiquated.
same here in Houston. Let me tell you, it's the same thing.
And I'm like, you're looking at these antiquated men who aren't in it anymore. And yes, they have some business wisdom, but they're not doing what you're doing right now. So sometimes having an ally to help you,
Yeah.
it's a sweet thing. She
Yeah.
walked away so happy that I was able to answer questions and kind of gives them a little pushback.
And support,
I admit I had a little fun.
Yeah.
Just saying. Gave a little pushback. She was really grateful. They had much better working knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, it was fun to do that. So get somebody who can support you or train you. You don't necessarily have to hire a bookkeeper, but
Yeah.
even if you do, still get that training because not for nothing, bookkeepers are the number one source of fraud. I
Oh.
see it all the time when I go in and
Especially with the celebrities, we see it all the time. So
me too.
we know that it's happening all the time. Well, you're
It
right.
is.
Yeah.
You cannot trust your bookkeeper 100%. You need that transparency to be able to check up on them and hold them accountable. Know that they've logged in. Know that if you're paying them, that they're actually doing the work that you paid them to do. Know that they aren't, stuffing their expenses into your books and naming it something that looks like your expense.
Exactly. I know
So
about that for sure because we
be
had,
involved.
yeah.
Even
Do
if
you
you
work with,
hire somebody, be involved.
yeah. Do you work with for-profits and nonprofits or only for-profits?
Mostly for profits.
Right.
I do work with some nonprofits, veterans clubs, community clubs. I do some. I do that because I enjoy it. It's not so much, they're nonprofit, so it's not a big money maker or profit, but I do it out of the pure enjoyment of being able to support my local community.
Mhm.
But I do like working with micro businesses, women-owned businesses. I much prefer to work with women over men.
Right.
Men think when they hire me, they get like this work wife and they just like, I'm going to run their business. Here, fix it. Women, when we work together, we actually work together and we collaborate.
Exactly.
Very different working environment. And I like to collaborate.
I've heard a lot of women say what you just said about the work wife scenario. They don't just want you to do what they hired you to do, but they want to extend it to, almost like wifely duty type of things.
Mhm.
I definitely get it. So, what are some of the fun things that you like about finances, other than being able to mentor, other than being able to show people the light that they did not see? What are some of the fun things about it? I know there's a lot of new codes and all kinds of things, but what are like some of the fun things that you're just like, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here doing this for 5 hours?
Oh, let me take a mess. And people are always like, they're embarrassed to show me their mess. Give me that mess that I can put to right.
Yeah.
I will get lost in I have a new husband after losing my first husband. I am remarried a year now.
Okay.
And thank you. He will check in with me and he's like, "You're almost done." I'm like, "Yep, wrapping up, wrapping up." 5 hours later, he brings me out dinner because I get
It's
lost.
like, she's not wrapping up. She's not wrapping up. Let me just take the dinner to her.
And he knows, he sees me in my zone. I love writing blogs to help, showcase some of the things that I've learned from seeing other business owners make that mistake or mistakes I've made to
Mhm.
say, okay, apparently this isn't common knowledge. This is what you can learn from it. So I get in a writing mode. I've
Yeah.
just written 5 more blogs. I try not to pester things that I only drip them out once a month. But now that I have 5 or 6 in the pipeline, I'm probably going to release 2 a month because it's always, hey, this was my experience, or this is something I just went through with somebody. This is how you can benefit with information on it.
Right. And do you find that sometimes when you speak with business owners that they almost feel like they're the only one that was going through that? Like, oh, I didn't know other people had this same issue. Do you find that a lot? Because I find
Yes.
that.
And when I tell people you're not alone,
Yeah.
the reality is we aren't taught this in school anymore. We aren't taught about our taxes. We aren't taught about managing
I was
money.
never taught it. So yeah.
It's just not done. And we're not born knowing this information. None of us are born experts.
Right.
Right? It's not like I was born knowing this. I learned the hard way too. And that's why I love sharing those hard won lessons that I wish I had when I started. Hey, don't do this because I did and it ended badly.
How'd you learn QuickBooks so good? Did you have to take a bunch of courses? Did you have to? go to training? How did you learn it so
I
well? Because
still
our
train.
QuickBooks guy wanted to teach me how to do it. And I was like, no, I just want to learn the part where I can double check to make sure all the things are being done. But for me to sit there and like actually do it, I knew I didn't have time because I'd already done it for 5 years. And I was like, it's time to give it to someone to help. So how'd you learn? I know you're probably ever evolving and learning because, you know, lifelong learners, but how did you originally learn it?
So originally I learned it from my daycare.
Okay.
And my CPA, when I brought in my taxes, he was like, do you have a hidden talent I didn't know about? And I was like, no, so then he had me help him with some of his other daycare clients. And then of course my husband, my first husband was on the fire department. Those guys always have second jobs. So I helped them with their stuff. And then I took a class and I got pro advisor certified. And then I took a tax class and then I started going and now I'm an elite pro advisor.
Oh, I love it.
And I absolutely love the product. I think it really puts it into the hands of the everyday person that make it, and a lot of accountants and bookkeepers complain.
Right.
Oh, the Intuit is taking away our clients. They're making it so they don't need us.
Oh,
No, I see it as an asset. They're
exactly.
making it so the everyday business owner can do this without us.
Yeah.
Now,
But
what I
still,
offer
but
then is
still may need your guidance.
they need my guidance when they mess
Yeah.
up. They
Yeah.
either need training or they need to make sure they have questions, or so what I'm offering is a little higher level. There's like some people that are just like, I don't want to, I'd rather go to the dentist than do my books.
No, no, no.
And great, I like doing that too. So I
Yeah.
have a nice mix of people who just don't want to
Yeah.
versus people who want to learn, and or they made a mess and they need help cleaning it up, and I show them how they can clean it up too. I
That is,
give them a step by step, okay, this is what's wrong, this is what it's going to take to do it.
yeah. So when you're writing your blog and you get really, really into it, do you like to see some of the responses from the business owners that are like, oh my gosh, this was so awesome. How's that blog going?
Um, I get a lot of, it's funny, people don't comment publicly because it's embarrassing to say, what did you see into my books? Or
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I get a lot of private messages about, how did you know? I felt like you were speaking right to me. I mean,
Oh,
and so it's interesting how people resonate with it. But again, there's that discomfort talking about, hey, I didn't know that, or I made that mistake too, and I'm in trouble too. And right now I'm releasing a blog probably, I think tomorrow,
mm,
about, it's called Suits versus Skirts and the difference between men and women as business owners and the different challenges that women face versus men, and how much men just get funding better. They get more funding
yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
Men hire the accountant, the marketing person, the cleaning lady, like women, we just change hats.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
we're that weed that winds up through,
Yeah.
and we're tenacious and we're deep rooted, and
Yeah.
our business, it's like that weed, good luck eradicating us, because we're stronger, because we've built it differently than a man would.
Absolutely. That is so true. Any parting words for our listeners and viewers? Now, again, our podcast is heard and listened to by 98% are women, and most of them are business owners. Because when I started this podcast show, the one thing I wanted to talk about was life and business together, because that is just the way, like you said, we wear many, many hats. We have lots of things going on in life. We have lots of things going on in business. So any parting words for our listeners, and make sure you hold that book up again, and we're going to get the link so that we can go right to Amazon and support you with the book.
My parting word is, know that you're not alone. Know
Mhm.
that there's help out there, and you will never, ever regret taking control of your money, ever. You will
Absolutely.
never regret knowing where your money is coming from or going to. And once you take control, that's your first step on getting on that road to financial freedom. Because if you cannot control $10, you cannot control $10 million.
Absolutely. All
So yeah,
right. That
this is the Obstacles Equal Opportunities. It is volume 3. There was a couple other volumes before this that are
okay.
also good. This is specific about business owners. And there's 11 women and 1 man that contributed.
Oh, wow.
So it's from
Powerful
all
book.
walks of life.
Okay.
We did have that token male contribute, the poor man in our meetings. He was a little overrun by us.
I bet. I bet. He probably was pretty excited about it though, right?
He ended up adapting really, really well.
I mean, what choice did he have?
He didn't have much at all. But it was very much a learning experience for me that I didn't know I liked to write until I did that, and that's what got me started writing my blogs.
Oh,
I didn't know I
really?
enjoyed it.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the Mother Daughter Ish Pod show today. I really appreciate the knowledge that you've given us. And I love the excitement that's coming from you because I can tell you love what you do. And that is absolutely the perfect person for you to be on the show today because everybody I've talked to, they love what they do. And that excites me to know that there are other women business owners in this world that are loving what they do. Like I love what I do. I love talking with you ladies. So thank you so much for being on our show today. And mothers and daughters, make sure that you look down in the description bar and you can see where her website is. You can see Christy owns E&M Bookkeeping, and you will get a copy of the book. Remember, it is volume 3 if you want to read about her story of overcoming. And until next time, bye. Hey, ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max to go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. If you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise.